Maestro is a masterwork. I feel like Carey Mulligan and Bradley Cooper will be on that Oscar stage in March. The performances that they delivered in this film are undeniable, especially Carey Mulligan. And I feel like the direction that Bradley Cooper delivers is deserving of an Oscar. If you remember, sometime after the Oscar nominations were announced and Bradley Cooper was not nominated for Best Director for A Star is Born, he took it somewhat personally, not because he wanted the award for himself or needed the nomination for validation for himself, but he said he felt like he let his cast and crew down. And I felt that. I believe him. And I feel like he took that motivation and that somewhat what he would consider a failure, and he proved in this film that he is a formidable auteur. I love the direction. You can tell in this film that he studied the films like of the dawn of cinema, Sunset Boulevard. Like, I feel like he studied Billy Wilder for sure. He's my favorite director of all time. I feel like he studied West Side Story, which Leonard Bernstein was a part of. Breakfast at Tiffany's, A Streetcar Named Desire, North by Northwest. He studied these films because I can tell from the scene transitions, the dissolving and the burning into the next scene, how that quiet transition, that's from the dawn of cinema. And I feel like he incorporated that style into this film. And I love that it is not, it doesn't overcompensate for what's not there. And by that I mean, it follows them throughout their age, them meaning Felicia and Leonard Bernstein. They age. You don't see a title card anywhere, which I love. Like, you understand that this is a span of time, that they're going through the seasons of their life and their love story. And I loved that. You don't have title cards and you don't need them. And I love that. Bradley Cooper really delivers in this film. I'm so surprised that he is not ranked number one, even over Cillian Murphy, as like a shoo-in for an Oscar nomination for his performance, because he disappears. I am a stickler for accents, and I was just waiting. I said, I'm gonna catch him slipping, and he doesn't. He utilizes every part of Leonard Bernstein, his voice, his mannerisms, the inflection of his words, like the theatrics and the choreography of him conducting. I feel like Bradley Cooper used all of that. He completely disappears. I don't hear his voice in this film at all, Bradley Cooper's. I don't see him. Now he has makeup and prosthetics, but it's more than that. That's the exterior layer. I feel like even internally, he internalized this section or chapters, these chapters of Leonard Bernstein's life, and completely inhabited him. And for that, I find he deserves an Oscar nomination for it. Now, Carey Mulligan, I mean, come on. She's going to be up on that Oscar stage. Now, I know I want Fantasia. I got my picks. But what she does in this film, she has so many Oscar scenes, and it's not bait. It's not Oscar bait. Like, she wanted to be this person, and she really does deliver. There's this one scene in particular. Her daughter, played by Maya Hawke, she leaves the table. And so she's left with Leonard Bernstein's sister, played by Sarah Silverman. And Felicia and Lenny are separated at this time, and she's putting herself back out there, and she goes on what she thinks is a date. I'm not going to spoil this film for you, but it's about this performance, the nuance of what is not said. And she is reduced to having to start over in this season in her life, and she really doesn't want to because she really wants her husband. And she's explaining, you know, she's a little humiliated and just torn up that she was liking this guy, but he only took her out to lunch because he wanted to get her to introduce her to someone else younger. I mean, and the way she delivers this scene with this vulnerability that she would rather take her husband, who can't love her the way that she needs to be loved, rather than starting over with somebody she's even unsure of that may not even love her either. She has so many Oscar scenes. A lot of them are in the second half of the film, but she doesn't let up. She is stealing everything in this movie. This is a fantastic film. I love also, I must say, that they didn't use score to just score the film. They used Bernstein's work, and sparingly, like it's not forced, and they don't overcompensate for the silences, because there are sections of the film that are very silent beats that let it breathe. I love that. Instead of overscoring this film about one of the greatest composers of all time, I feel like they used the score in a way that moved the story along. Such a brilliant film. He did that. Now, I don't like the script, and I'll tell you why. I haven't read the script. I'm saying what is on the page that I see from the performances and the direction I didn't really like. We're missing some truth about his life. Now, I know this isn't a straightforward biopic, but there's some truths about him and his closetedness that I feel like was shied away, especially the scene in the beginning with Matt Bomer. Like, there was something there, but it felt like it was pulled back, and that, you know, this wasn't about that, so to speak. It was, but not so much. And the fact that it's entitled Maestro wasn't even about, or singularly about, Leonard Bernstein being one of the greatest conductors and composers, but also it was about Felicia's story and how she was the maestro of Leonard Bernstein's career and their love story. And it was such a love song about their life. This is a fantastic movie. Let me tell you, I admonish you, especially if you're a cinephile, when this drops on Netflix on December 20th, please watch this film and come back and tell me if I am nuts out of my mind. I absolutely love this film. At any rate, Maestro will begin streaming on Netflix December 20th.